All right. Welcome to the October Ops Coaches Calls. Joined here today with Coach Hefe,
Hello.
Coach Manica,
Hello.
and me, your favorite, the incorrigible, the shiny Dr. Dave. Uh, I made sure to give everyone heads up beforehand on what the questions were going to be this week. But no one knows the order they're going to happen in.
Oh man.
So, um, we're going to start with the first question. I'm going to have Coach Monica start us off, then it'll go Coach Jeff, and then myself. But Coach Monica, what does your dream client look like?
Oh man. I want somebody that is ready to uh do some new things and try something new. And um I want somebody that has desire to be stronger and better all like holistically too. Like for me, just because my journey in powerlifting is really um I feel like it's changed my life in such a positive way and so many things just by like honing in on better recovery and sleep and nutrition and all these things has just made my life a lot better because I really wanted to be a better powerlifter. Um, but my dream client is somebody that's just really ready to work hard and prioritize the training and the demand and um, yeah, I love working with moms too, though. That's like my favorite is because I have a lot of experience there and like troubleshooting, making time availability, and really like getting away from the guilt and shame of taking time for themselves. I really like helping kind of share those experiences that I've had that's made me able to be a mom and be a elite power lifter all at the same time and learning how to balance and those are the people that I like to work with is
Yeah.
that's my ideal client.
Hardworking mom.
Yeah, I love working moms. Those are my
I
favorite.
think we all like
Yeah.
hardworking moms. That's a quality client. Quality client, no matter what. Not some bitchy little teenager that
Yeah, yeah,
complains about everything
yeah,
or wants to do
yeah,
this or that or what about this one yet? Like, chill out.
yeah.
Jeff, what does a dream client look like for you?
I mean, a lot of the same things that Monica touched on, but I think somebody who's ready for the commitment that this lifestyle requires.
Totes.
Um, Someone who can communicate really well and is at a point where they're willing to accept coaching. Because I mean, there are a lot of, not a lot, but there are people out there that just aren't ready to have a coach yet.
Sure.
And um, yeah, so I think the communication aspect of it is huge. Someone who can articulate what they're going through and what they need, I think is huge. But yeah, I think the commitment part is the biggest thing. If you're committed and you show it through your work ethic, like most things will figure themselves out.
I like that. I like that. I know for me personally, right, like the kind of clients I'm looking for now, like understand this isn't, 12 weeks. This isn't 6 months. This isn't a year, right? Like this is a dedicated purpose, right, for training that's you're going to be doing this for a long time and you're able to train for a long time and recognizing the value in that and the value of having something that provides an anchor to your daily life and the investment in self that comes from hard training and training for some sort of competition, having some sort of goal in mind that creates focus and creates discipline and that kind of stuff then bleeds to all these other areas of life and creates a really well-rounded individual. But it starts with, the desire to really spend some time making a change and developing the skills to make that change successfully and then improve upon it year after year after year, like Monica talked about with diet and the recovery things involved. Like, the training process itself is like the easiest, smallest part
Yeah.
of the whole puzzle. It's okay, how do I keep stronger after I've been doing this for like 6+ years? How do I hit that next level? What do I have to get in order to have that next level performance? And that's really what I enjoy is, lifestyle management to facilitate training. Good, good. Okay, Jeff. What is your least favorite lift variation? Not because of difficulty, but because it's genuinely like not enjoyable to do. It just makes you suffer.
Whoa. For me personally, because of my body dimensions,
Sure.
deficit deadlifts.
Oh, yeah.
I hate them, and I didn't want to say that out loud because I don't want you to program him after this meet. But there's one- yeah, it's really difficult for me to get into a proper position, to get to the bar properly, and I feel like I turn into Odd Job from GoldenEye because I'm just so compressed down there.
Hey,
But
more arms, boss.
yeah, that would be mine. Deficit deadlifts for sure.
Deficit snatch grip.
Well, yeah, that would suck.
Yeah.
I've done it. It's terrible.
Now here's the good part. This is the good part, as a coach. It's like, okay, you have a lifter. I'm going to use the word stubby, but that's not in a derogatory fashion, right? Just shorter arms, shorter legs, hard getting down to the bar. Let's say a typical deficit height is a 45-pound bumper plate, right? What change would you make to deficits to make your stubby lifters still able to do a deficit, but it's not as egregious and it doesn't dick them up that bad?
Well, what I do, I just make the deficit less.
You make the deficit a little less. Everyone wants that 4-plate Jesse Norris deficit, right? But it's like you don't want to go that far outside of the movement pattern,
Right.
right? From the floor. You're just trying to get a little bit of extra range of motion there. And if it turns it into a clean pull, right? Like it's too far outside of that skill set.
Yeah.
All right, Monica. What is an exercise that is your least favorite variation wise?
If we're talking main lifts.
Sure.
Um, I too hate snatch grip. If that's my least favorite like deadlift variation is snatch grip. Um, just because I have to use straps and that really always sucks because I can't get my hand around the bar that far out all the way. And I hate using straps. It makes me feel like I'm held captive to the bar.
I want to let go, but I
But
but
I
I can't.
can't.
I don't like it.
Oh, I really hate that, but I also hate SSB.
Yeah,
That's my least specialty bar. Like I'll do a cambered bar, a Mars bar. I really hate squatting with a SSB. It I don't know. I'll do any other kind of yeah, I just hate that one so much. I'll use it for step ups. That's
sure,
fine. I hate
sure.
squatting with it though. I just hate it. Yeah, that's how I feel about that.
That's pretty good. I also hate the SSB. I like it for good mornings. But as far as actual like squatting mechanics, I fucking hate that
Yeah, I
bar.
hate it so much.
um, and we'll avoid it and do other things. I almost said front squats, but I'm making myself do front squats now that I bought a special bar specifically for them. So it's not as terrible. But I was gonna say deadlift with chains.
I've never done that.
Every time I do deadlift with chains, it tweaks my low back because the chains get kicked around somewhere or they're forward of the bar or something as you're trying to stand up. And every time I have a terrible experience with it.
You made me rethink mine now.
Oh,
Banded deadlift. That's the
sure.
worst. That's the worst. I would snatch grip deficit before I would do
Pulling
banded.
pulling into band.
Yeah, I absolutely not reverse. Reverse is pretty cool,
Yeah, it's
but
fun.
like, yeah, banded deadlifts suck. Uh, yeah,
So,
I changed my mind.
Well, it's a good thing that most people don't have band pegs on their platforms. And don't you think too with like banded deadlifts, it's always like the micro reds or like
Yeah.
the blue at most. It's never like anything like substantial for
Oh,
band tension.
no, it's humbling in that way.
Fucking stupid things.
It's fun watching
Ah,
Ben, but
right. Here's a good one. Monica, when it comes to a training week,
Mhm.
should someone eat the same macros every day?
It depends.
Oh, the old coaching
It
answer. It
depends.
depends. Well, tell us what it depends upon.
I think it's absolutely okay to do the same calories day in and day out if you're consistent. If you're absolutely consistent every single day, because everything is built off of averages and nutrition and digestion, everything in recovery, it's all continuous. So it's all built off of consistency, like whatever you do the most of. So if you can be really good at, nailing it every single day, then by all means. It also depends on what your goals are for nutrition. Like if you're gaining or losing or I mean maintaining is that's pretty pretty awesome if you can just hit the same calories and maintenance every single day regardless of training or not. It's the average calories you're going to intake in a week that's split up over 7 days, and that's kind of how even when you're carb cycling and stuff, you're just rearranging where you're putting food. And a lot of times when we do like carb cycling or putting your carbs right around your training on both sides, it's not that you're having more calories necessarily, maybe for the day, but overall, over like a 7 day period of time, it's still the same calories. It's just split up differently. And a lot of times that has to do more with like, are you insulin sensitive or are there other issues with recovery or meal timing that we're dealing with? It depends. Yes, it can work, but it just depends on the situation.
Would you say it's easier when you're gaining weight to keep same calories every day
Yes.
as opposed to body comp or losing weight?
Yes,
So
absolutely.
when going for body recomposition or losing weight, maybe a little bit better of a plan to put your carbs loaded into your training days and back off the carbs and increase the fats and protein on non-training days.
Yeah, and that's typically how I have that set up for those that that's just what the meal plan is set up for them right now is like we have a higher carb count on training days, and those are strategically placed like right before training and right after. And it's usually like a big bolus of like carbs right before and after, and there's less throughout the rest of the day. Versus like their non-training day has far fewer carbs, but it's more satiating with fats and proteins and stuff like that. But I think when you're recomping or losing weight, it's a lot of trickery and it's a lot of like being very much more specific than when you're gaining weight. And so there's a lot of things that you'll do over a tiered period of time in a cut too. It's not like you have one diet for your cut and then you just do it. It's if it's a successful diet, then it will work for a long period of time, but eventually you'll hit a point where that deficit either needs to take another dip down, in reduction of weight. And then that becomes even more of a strategic of where you put your carbs and making sure that you're not hitting hanger pangs at certain
Mhm.
points of the day or disrupting sleep. So it's much more specific if you're really dialing down body fat percentages.
Jeff, is your diet plan right now consistent calories across the week or
I carb cycle heavier carbs on training days. And then just timing really. Like I don't
yeah.
eat on off days, I don't eat carbs for dinner. Or excuse me, the opposite way. I don't eat them on non-training days, I don't eat carbs for dinner. I just have them all in the morning for the most part and after training. But yeah, it's carb cycling.
Yeah.
Do you do a higher amount on one training day compared to the other training days?
My SBD days, yeah, I do 70 or 100 carbs for breakfast and then 50 carbs after dinner. On the accessory days, it's only 50. So 50 and 25.
God, so little.
That is so little. Gosh, I mean, you make me sad hearing that.
Oh, well, so give Jeff some juice. What's your body weight?
62, 262.
Amazing. So svelte.
Yeah.
So
Monica's going to take care of that in a couple weeks.
Get that meat over with and after Thanksgiving and then
oh,
put
good
on.
call. Waiting till after Thanksgiving. That
Yep.
was smart.
Yeah, I
That's
didn't want
To especially post meat,
to.
have like no reason to jump into like mass or any kind of restrictive behavior after a meet.
That's exactly what I was thinking. There's no point in doing that one week
No.
then going right into a diet and into Thanksgiving. That's silly.
Yeah, no, and then you'll really appreciate it when December 1st rolls around, is that you'll be ready because you'll have had the mental break and
100%.
ready to resurge that dedication.
I always screw that up. I'm always dieting through the winter and just end up like having the most meager Thanksgiving plate and save for
Whatever.
Christmas.
Whatever. His Thanksgiving is not going to be sad.
Good, good. All right. Next question. All right, let's do some shit talking.
I liked it.
Jeff, what do you think about lifters setting all-time world records in, we could call it a local meet, we'd call it a backyard fed, something that's not done in front of international judges or really all that high of a standard. Um, then the lifter will hit the lift, probably get the benefit of the doubt, two white lights, right? Then it comes on the internet and everyone looks at the lift and clearly not up to standard, not up to par. And then the lifter then has to make a separate post all about how we decided to turn down the world record and just, wasn't up to our standard, even though that's the standard they lifted it at the competition. So it is their standard. Do you have thoughts on what that says for the sport or where we should be at this point in 2025 with records in general?
I'm, my thoughts.
Yes.
Yeah, they shouldn't be. We shouldn't be breaking world records at local meets. That's my thoughts. There should be a standard for sure. Um,
So if you had a client, they're ready to break this world record, and some SPF meet pops up or APA or fucking whatever old dick fucking fed pops up and says, "Hey, we'd love for you to come down and set this record." Is that something you would advise them as their coach?
Probably not
Probably not.
from my set of values. I probably
Sure.
won't coach that. I understand why people would, but me personally, no. I don't think I don't the momentary accolades of that are worth the destruction of your reputation, in my opinion.
Sure. And like you would assume as well that if you did have a lifter that was ready to break a record, you would want it done in the best way possible to the highest standard, right? Just so that that thing doesn't happen where
Exactly.
you're wasting time on the back end giving back records.
Right.
And
So what is the solution to this? Do we have an online board or like send it to, New York to review? Like what do we do? I mean, like what's the answer to this besides like no all-time world records can be broken at local meets. It has to be at a national or world event.
I like that.
I think there at least yeah, maybe there should be some kind of like for that specific
We
thing, for
have,
specific for all-time world
yeah,
records that
we have enough pro, national, world events throughout the year on a schedule that I don't think it's a far-fetched thing to say international competitions only, national meets, pro meets,
yeah,
because both tested and untested has all three of those
Sure.
yeah.
at plenty of times throughout the year. And I think it just comes to the point now. It's like if you want to say it's the all-time world record, right? Then we there needs to be something in place that guarantees a fair standard of judging.
Yeah.
So, Monica, as a ref, what is your thought process on all of this? How do you see it, like as a ref, where
I
what
don't think I
what?
agree that I don't think all-time world record um lifts should take place at local meets. I just don't. I don't think it's the place for it. I for a lot of different reasons, it's very atypical to have a national level ref at a local meet in unless they like live in that region or but I just don't think that uh, we're equipped or ready for that. And like I know in like PLU we have juries that are involved in our in the pro and national meets, so that makes it kind of like another layer of uh reffing at the higher level. And also yeah, I just don't think it's a good idea. I just don't see it being something that is um I just think it's really easy to separate the two. You know, you can set state records and, you know, at local meets and,
Totally.
but like all-time world records, you're talking about all time in the world. I think that it requires a bigger stage
Yeah. And I think that's fair. And it's
and scrutiny. Why not? I mean,
yeah,
not that it should, like, there should be no different standard for an all-time world record lift to a hometown, you know, backyard meet as far as like ones that are ran locally. I don't, the standard itself shouldn't be any different, but the scrutiny I think should be.
Sure.
yeah, I think the scrutiny is already like poor
Yeah.
at a local backyard meet like that
Yeah.
anyways.
I think there's, like you said, there's other options available. So why not just set yourself up to not have to defend your title.
Because it's convenient.
I know that's okay.
I guess what's with this hypothetical situation that we're talking.
Hypothetical. Not like anything remotely like that has happened this month.
No, not at all. But that's my frustration with this hypothetical situation is what this is the at least the third, I think, time that he's attempted this in what, 3 months or so.
Sure.
And every single one of them passed like on the platform, but afterwards is when everybody's saying. So what is going on with the reffing?
No kidding. Where do
These
you,
being
yeah.
passed. That's my frustration.
Well, I think people forget too, like the more weight you lift, the better the judges are going to look at you.
Sure.
Unless they just don't like you. And
Yeah.
then you're getting reds just because you're not liked.
Yeah, I understand that. But that, I mean, again, that's part of the problem with the sport and the legitimacy of it.
Yep.
So,
I don't know. I think people should just lift more weight and then they get more benefit of the you know, calls for their lifts. Sorry, benefit of the doubt calls. Yeah. I think that's one of the advantages of being super strong, right? It's like, oh, I don't really have to lift to the standard because it's a huge weight and people are just impressed to watch it.
exactly. But yeah, that, I mean, again, that takes away from the validity of the sport and what a lot of us are trying to do and trying to make it legitimate.
Yeah.
It's it's really hard to legitimize something when we have so many bad calls.
Yeah.
So Jeff wants instant replays in powerlifting.
Go to New York.
You know, yeah,
Yeah.
like I don't think that it's too far off, you know.
I think it's a waste.
I'm not saying that.
You
I'm just
know, like
saying that
really is it that hard to say depth or
well,
not,
I
paused or not, locked out or not?
yeah, no, it's not that that's it. It's just to
I don't want coaches or
appease
athletes
the,
coming up with instant replay. Like, well,
I
look,
don't.
well, I don't want that. That's not what I'm saying. But I think if there's something questionable, like, even an all-time world record should be judged by more than just the three judges on the platform.
Interesting.
I also I do feel like though what I usually say is being a ref like it's it's a lot of pressure and it's a you're definitely you have seconds to make that decision a
Sure.
second to make that decision and human error is real
Yeah.
and when people bitch about it those are the people I say like you should get into the chair and see what it's about because it's not as easy as you think. um And sometimes visibility is an issue and you have to give it to the lifter. That is in the rule book. Like if you are unable to see, what you were required to see due to like a spotter being in the way or something like that, you have to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Right. But again, we're in 2025 now. We have the technology.
That's what, yeah. Like I don't think it's impossible that it's something is not gonna like develop over the next 10 years. That would be ignorant of me to say that based on the amount of technology that's,
I can't wait for
improved.
instant replay to break next
Yeah.
lifter.
Just have everything have like a VBS calculator on it and check the data.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, that was 0.62 below. You're not getting it.
Exactly. Well, your last one was,
0.28 millimeters. So now this one's not deep enough.
Off by millimeters, folks.
you start
That's
running
a
a
tough one. Gonna haunt him.
velocity based.
Hopefully he'll come back and get on the next one. Good. So that kind of leads into a good question as well. So, what do you think? To go to nationals in a federation, should you have to qualify in that federation or should you just have a qualifying total? Monica.
I can see it both ways. I can see the idea of the Fed running nationals wanting their people to, or like it to funnel up from other meets that have happened within their federation. But I also think it's missing out on a lot of opportunities of people to register that have maybe competed in that Fed before, but they've also done other Feds in the meantime. Um, I think like yeah, I don't say I can't say that I agree with the fact that like I think PLU is set up like that for nationals this year, is that you have to have a PLU qualifying total. And I wish it weren't that way because I think it's a little exclusive.
So you think it caps overall registration by being that exclusive?
Could. I mean, and I don't know what the statistics would be on that, like what the percentage would be, but I mean, I know myself as the last meet that I competed in was not an PLU meet, and that would mean I would have to go find a, qualifying total if I
True.
wanted to do that. But um and I mean, we have a couple lifters in the gym, same
Yep.
thing. Just, they have the total and the dots to support it. They just haven't competed in a while or not in PLU yet. And being that it's so brand new, I could see doing that futuristically, being a little more inclusive that way. But
3 years from now.
yeah, but I think in the beginning, when this is the third nationals that they'll have hosted, I still think it's a little young. Um, but that's just my opinion.
Jeff, what do you think?
Yeah, that was my point is it's from the business side of it, I don't think it makes sense within like the infancy of your federation,
Right.
right? Your goal should be expanding your membership
Yep.
and getting as many people onto those platforms as possible. For someone like the federation, like the USAPL, I can understand it just because their membership is so much more. But like
That as
specifically,
well as they're only drug tested. I could see that being more their thing too, because I don't know. That's my group.
yeah, beside the point. But yeah, I think that is you're limiting the amount of people, you're limiting the exposure to your federation in its infancy. First 5 years or so is probably a mistake from the business side of things. Um, yeah, I think if you have the total and as long as it's the test and untested side of things, it should be fine. I don't see the big point in America at least.
Yeah.
Good, good. I disagree with you both. I think you should have a total within the Fed if you want to go to that Fed's nationals, right? As just part of, okay, that's the funnel upwards for competition in this federation. And if I'm planning to do national level events, I should know, okay, these are the qualifiers I have to do for that. That plans out my training cycle for it. I think a bigger one too is that it forces competition within the year.
That's fair.
I think, especially because I'm in this category, right? Like my highest dots is a 490, but that's not where my dots would be now if I popped in and did a comp. And so I think having a fresh dots for the competitive year is really important. Or
Better
else you have
represented.
people kind of getting by on 4, 5, 6-year-old performances that just kind of automatically qualify them for bigger things. And you see them kind of, you know, they'll still put up a great total, but it's still like 100 pounds or more under their best totals. And I think it's something instead where if we have more like yearly competitive rankings rather than all-time lists, I think that leaves a little bit more room for seeing new talent or seeing talent that's been around for a while make resurgences, right, and make comebacks and stuff like that, rather than, just getting stuck on the same 5 lifters for men and 5 lifters for women over and over. But especially this year, I think we're in the middle of kind of a changing point in terms of the top competitive people, and starting to rotate out. I mean, there's still John, and John could be at the top for as long as he wanted, but I think we're seeing a fair amount of switch arounds, um,
Yeah.
not just in super heavies, but across the board in pretty much all weight classes. We're seeing a little bit of a shift in age demographics and everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good for
Yeah.
the sport. Good
I
for the
agree.
sport. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it will set it up better for next year being that inclusive because then it creates more demand and it also makes people get into local meets,
Yeah,
which is what we
that
wanted
and
from last year.
that's my big point coming back to the nationals is we have to be building local meets, right? And like I get it. You could argue that, oh, there's not enough local meets to justify, right, having a PLU or whatever fed total for that nationals. But I think that then forces that fed to ensure that there are enough local meets that provide access to nationals, and it makes the local meets a priority for that fed, which I think needs to
It
be
needs to
happening.
happen.
Especially as we talk about lifters getting into and out of the sport, like the more robust our local competition scene is, and the more frequent we can have competitors lifting within the local scene year round, year after year after year, I think that by nature creates a more competitive nationals. Just like when USPA started adding in IPL worlds, in the 2010s. Um, and they had already built up a pretty decent local scene at the time. Nationals was pretty big, and they just kind of wanted one more push from there, and had the base of members to be able to do that. And I think in terms of tested versus untested feds, like that's an opportunity for PLU. Powerlifting America and USAPL have got their own shenanigans with everything. But even then, what I like about the tested side too now is we're starting to see more pro meets,
Yeah.
more meets outside of just local state championships, and then a billion people at nationals. Like they're starting to get more opportunities there, because nationals on the tested side is a shit show. Like
Yeah.
that is the least fun I could imagine you having at a big national competition. Is there's so many people, it's moving so fast, it's just,
So many platforms. I've never
yeah,
seen so many
it's,
platforms in all my life.
and then the prime times that
Yeah.
are going late at night,
Yeah.
and they're running 3 or 4 sessions in a day, and it's just, it's a nightmare. That's not fun, you
And it's
know
hard to really see top lifters at that
yeah,
too because there's just so many.
yeah,
There's so many.
you got almost 1,000 people, 1,200 people registered for the event.
Yeah.
Like it's just funneling cattle through. And you could up that qualifying. Yeah, and I think especially like the sign of a well-developed Fed is a high qualifying total
Right.
for nationals, and that should be kind of like the goal of the Fed is to build that
I believe
that bottom end
I believe
up.
that
And
is
yeah, and
like
so
next year. I think the standard will be the qualifying totals will be different than they are this year.
I think if you could make a nationals that for masters was a 400 dots and for open was a 450, you would see a really quality event and competitive, right?
Yeah.
Like powerlifting in the weight classes itself. versus what we've experienced whenever we've done the nationals is going and winning, going 4 for 9, and it's just you're outclassing everyone there because you're so much stronger.
Even on your first day.
Yeah, even on your worst day.
But yeah, and I you touched on that, and I think that's part of it too, is like when you look at these nationals and there's hundreds of people there, like what are you representing, right? Like I
Right.
think there should be either a higher qualifying total or state champions of weight classes get to go to nationals, something like that. It needs to be
Yeah,
more.
I think
And I know I'm
that's
contradicting what I'm saying, but like I think nationals should be more exclusive
I agree.
personally. But sorry, Monica.
But you can, like you said, you can make that exclusive through that score, that qualifying total
Exactly.
too.
Right.
But I think that really will help build up the local meets in a different way as well, because people are going to take those a little bit more seriously, and it'll help fill out those registrations and make the our meets a lot more enjoyable too when they're competitive and there's more than two people in
Like,
your weight class.
yeah,
It's a really fun time.
yeah. Like if every state could send their top 5 to 7, right, of
Right.
each weight class,
That would be pretty cool.
to nationals, you qualify from there, just end of the year rankings by whatever cutoff. I think
That's
that,
a cool way to do it too.
yeah, I think that creates plenty of competition.
Yeah, within the state and the country. So at
Yeah,
that level. But yeah, definitely. I think that's a better way of going about it than just having a strict either dots or qualifying total.
yeah, yeah. And I think it's important for nationals to like be a badge that means something and not just like I paid to go to nationals,
Exactly.
you
Yeah, I
know?
mean, I come from a wrestling background. Like it was huge
Yeah.
to go to state. Nationals was, one of those peaks that you have to get. And then you come over to powerlifting and everybody, you touch the bar the first time you qualified for nationals.
Going
Like,
for nationals, like, yeah. And yeah, I believe it would draw more viewership to those championship end of year kind of tournaments too, which would be really fun.
definitely.
Good. All right. Okay. Monica, what competitions do we have planned for ops this year?
Oh, I'm so excited for this. Oh my gosh. We're gonna do the same one we did last year. Meaning at Ops, a full power meet in June, the same weekend, which is June 27th of 2026. And it is called the NCW Open at Ops. And that's what it will be from here moving forward. It'll be our annual meet that we'll host at the same time every year. And that is going to be up to 60 lifters. That goes live this next month, which I'm super stoked for that. And then it's not official, but we do have a very fun meet planned for November 3rd. Megan and I are trying. We put in the order to get approved to do a team meet in November next year, meaning one person squats, one person benches, and one person deadlifts to build an accumulative total of dots. So your dots is what ranks you to win the team meet.
And then you just add them all up.
Yep. But it's going to be like we're setting it up kind of like fantasy football, where there's going to be a free agent list for people that don't have a full team but want to see who's on the roster and they can draft them and build their own team. There'll be a lot of fun little options, but we're looking to gain some huge sponsorship too to give out some money. So there's all these things that are not official, but are in the works of being planned. And since regionals is not happening this next year and nationals is early on the front end, we have 3 full power meets for Washington State planned for next year. And we thought instead of doing another full power, why not do something that kind of punctuates the end of the year really well, that's really fun. Anybody could peak one lift in 8 weeks, and scoop up some money for the holiday. So we're just, yeah, super excited to do something like that next year. So that's the plans for the meets at Ops.
I like it. That's going to be a blast.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah, I don't know. Maybe do a seminar next year also of a host. We'll bring somebody in or something. I don't know.
Well, we could totally do that. We have time
Yeah.
in between the seminars we're doing.
Yes.
Good. Uh, went through that, went through that. We'll do one more.
One more.
We're going to talk about the mental game, powerlifting, whether it's meet prep, meet day, off-season training. I'll go first. Um, One thing I think is really important when you talk about the off-season, and not having any competition on the books is still having little mini goals for your training. And not just coming in and just smoking yourself just for the sake of smoking yourself or pushing as hard as you can, just for the sake of pushing, but like having a clear idea of what you want to be able to improve upon before your next competition. And sometimes that can be a specific lift or a specific physical characteristic. Other times, like where I find myself in now, I'm in the middle of a significant weight cut. I have injuries that I've been rehabbing in my shoulder and hip, and I just have to be in a place where I can actually like train. And so for me in my off season, that's been a large focus of it is what ranges of motion do I need to restore? What parts of my body need to be more warmed up or activated before I can train? What has to happen so that I can actually train in the way I want to, which is definitely a very new setup for me in training. And not just coming in and going balls to the wall on my SBD days and killing myself on accessories, but having a much more tailored focus to that. And I think mentally separating myself from having to worry about being at my all-time best and all-time strongest and recognizing that if I'm focused on that, I'm not going to be happy. But if I can focus on feeling more athletic, feeling like my body's moving the way it needs to move to be fast and fluid and be able to organize itself under load, later on, that will then turn into large expressions of strength. But in the meantime, the goal is continue to improve range of motion, improve activation of muscle groups, and be training and ending sessions not in pain, which is a big switch from loading as much weight as you can on the bar and getting after it, right? Because there's definitely pain involved with that afterwards. Uh, but recognizing too, things just take time and been underneath the bar for over 2 decades. And it's just going to take a little bit more time, and that's okay. And you don't have to rush and feel like you're never going to be strong again or anything like that. But just recognize the goal is the goal and don't be upset if there are other goals that are important to you that aren't getting met right now when you have one objective that you have to focus on and fix first. So that's kind of my mental game for powerlifting is being focused on the goal and not being sidetracked because the goal isn't strong as possible right now. That comes later. Monica, what's something in terms of the mental game of powerlifting that you've been having going on with you you'd like to share?
Wait, what was the whole question again?
Question is any aspect of the mental game of powerlifting, meet prep, off season,
Gotcha.
meet day.
Uh, okay, for off season, which I guess I'm in right now, even though I
Yeah.
do have a competition in mind, which is a year away. That's a really long time to be just kind of sitting around waiting to begin your whole peaking process. And so I I think all of us know that powerlifting can become monotonous at some point in time. Either the training style or the weight on the bar isn't moving the same way or things something happens to where monotony is created and you have to make a pivot. And so I really love finding something that I hate and getting better at it. And like whether it's a bar, a variation, something I really suck at in accessories, and I'll just like hyper focus on that. And that really kind of helps me kind of break away from the macro cycle of training and really hone in on the something smaller and more tangible and more instant gratification in the, a shorter term period of time, even though that still takes time. Um, and so I really just try to find something that if it's broken, I want to fix it. And that really helps me kind of get through the off season. Game day and meet day and peaking and all of that, it's its own other thing. And now I don't want to say that I am a different person, but I'm kind of a different person. And it's just that I have really everything is kind of succincting, right in line with all this effort that I put in on the front, on the back end, and it's all going to come to fruition. And so, like, I don't want anything to derail that momentum. So I tend to get a little bit more just committed and disciplined in the very specific ways and kind of cut all the junk out. And so it's really just always kind of having a laser focus on something. It's just that laser can pivot from one thing to the next. I just always try to find some way to make it interesting and new. And
Novelty.
yeah,
Yeah.
I that's what keeps me going and always wanting to continue to pursue something is just finding something that I don't know yet or something I don't do well. And I just, yeah, I want to be able to do it all.
Jeff.
Um, so I'm 10 days out. And last 3 4 weeks have probably been busier than I've been in the last 3 years. So trying
Of course.
to manage that and um the fatigue, honestly, that's my biggest thing right now is just making sure that I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing, eating my food, drinking water, getting my movement, all that stuff in, and just understanding right now that the fatigue will pass. And I
Mhm.
slept 12 hours last night. It was incredible. Um, but yeah, that's just where my mind is just right now is just dialing everything in and just a lot of visualization, especially during walks, just visualizing everything, and controlling the controllables. It's We've done this a million times before, so just going in and getting it done and then moving on to the next block where I'll go to where you guys are at, developmental stages and rebuilding everything again. So
Doesn't it feel good though to have like the your expectations of what the process is of going into being 10 days out? You know what that, like you said, I know what this is like. I know what to do. And I know like all of the things that are going to set me up for like my best day possible. Like that's a good feeling.
yeah.
It's
And that's what I was talking to Dave about yesterday after training is that I went into that session thinking, this is going to suck. Everything's going to hurt. I'm not going to move
yes.
well at all. Everything was fine. I mean, it was fine. And I think that was like a big win. It's like, okay, I am beat to shit back and forth right now, but like we're still able to do everything to a good standard. And so I mean, it's going to be great. And just keeping that mindset and not freaking out over stupid stuff. So,
And I was really excited when I saw yesterday too, because I knew like you were going to be fucking beat. And I was like, okay, what numbers can I still get away with giving you that are going to be heavy enough, right? That it's not just a week off, but it's not going to fry you out and we can keep a good quality of movement. And that's exactly what you had yesterday. I was like, okay, God, woo,
yeah,
called it just right.
exactly. Perfect programming.
Yeah. Almost like after, enough years working with someone, you could kind of tell.
Figure each other out. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, the numbers do themselves numbers speak for themselves, yeah. Good. Well, that was perfect, gang. That was a perfect round of question calls. We will repeat this again every third Wednesday of the month.
Yes.
Will give us plenty of time for more questions for the next one. Yeah. So with that, thank you for listening and take care, live strong, eat food,